Today is November 2nd. It's my second video diary session. And in the first video I made, I spoke about grief. Today's video, I'm going to be sharing 7 books that carried me through the period of grief that I've been in and I'm coming out of. Shortly after I quit my job, I couldn't read anything. If anyone is familiar with the newsletter writing industry or newsletter production industry, not just any newsletter, but for news, you know that it takes a lot of information consumption, especially if you are more or less a one-man team doing all the writing, curation, and um, analysis. You essentially have to consume a lot of information every single day, every single time, and condense that information for readers like beyond. So the newsletter I was writing, there was a lead story section, and then there was the news summary section. In the news summary section, I would have about 10 to 12 stories which I would have read and condensed for readers. I would have read over 12 news pieces, basically glanced through them and sought for the most important information or the newest information from the breaking news story or article, and then pick the most relevant parts of it for readers. That part of the work I didn't really appreciate because it felt to me like I was doing the work that other people, the people who were subscribed to the newsletter, were subscribers, policymakers, industry professionals essentially, who would rather just want to, have information quickly to know what's the most recent information. The way AI is so present in today's age, I found that part of the task of reading so much news and then selecting the most important bit of the information and then summarizing it for readers very monotonous, tedious, tiring, boring, annoying at some point, because I just felt like if I had a tool, and at some point I was developing a tool, someone who I think works at Apple TV or YouTube News. We're developing an AI tool to work on that particular section of the newsletter. The tool just wasn't doing a good enough job as I was doing. And eventually, I think we just put it aside. But one of my goals was to eventually try to develop a tool with a software engineer that can actually work on that specific section of the newsletter in the exact way that I would want it written. It's a normal thing for news organizations to use AI tools for news summaries. Reuters does it, AP News also does it. And in fact, I did a training with the Online News Association as well on certain prompts that you can use on news summary. Anyway, that aside, I'm saying all of this to say that shortly after I quit my job, I was so burnt out that I just couldn't read as much anymore. I used to be able to finish one book in like one sitting. Sometimes I would speed it up with the use of the audio version of the book while reading it at the same time. And I got so burnt out. I got so burnt out. Eventually, when I started to push myself to get back into being able to read, I kid you not, I read nothing, like nada, beyond the Bible sometimes. That phase was also a phase where I struggled to even read the Bible as much as I was reading it before. But I struggled. But anyway, 7 books that got me through the period of grief that I've been in and I'm coming out of. Everyday gratitude. So it's just different quotes by different people. The page I'm on now says, wherever you are is the entry point. There's a question beneath it. It says, what can I do right now, big or small, to help make a change I long for? I would sit sometimes in my courtyard in my building. I would just meditate on it, take in fresh air, read the book, and sometimes I'll take my jump rope with me and skip as well. When I dare to be powerful, to use my strength in the service of my vision, then it becomes less and less important whether I am afraid. What can I bravely do today in service of something I am passionate about? My answer to this question might have just been to take a walk from my house to Highland Park and then listen to a podcast while at it, like a podcast from someone I haven't listened to before, just talking about a topic I haven't heard before, a very light topic as opposed to the news. Because shortly after I left, I also didn't want to consume any form of news. I just wanted peace. The next book I would like to share is Ups and Downs, a journal for good and not so good days. My family friend got it for me in 2021, shortly after I moved to the US. It's a journal that I haven't really filled much, but whenever I felt the most sad in my life, I have filled it over a certain number of days, and it's been very helpful. And then you get to basically check off how you're feeling. There's antagonistic, sensitive, disappointed, fuzzy, furious feelings, and that you don't even have words for. The book basically gives it to you. Tries to let you just figure out what's going on with you, with yourself. I am generally, you check, unsatisfied, satisfied with life because dash you feel it. This was September 18th at 10:58 a.m. All I checked off on that page was I feel apathetic, and I said a bit, and I didn't do any other thing on that page. That shows how apathetic I must have been. The next book I want to share is this one, The Things You Can See Only When You Slow Down by Haemin Sunim. I hope I did not butcher his name. Much like the first book that I shared on everyday gratitude, it also helped me to take things slow. It really was what I needed to read during my period of grief. The road to happiness lies in not just finding a good job, but also in learning to enjoy what you are asked to do. And the second sentence I highlighted says, if we take time to look around, we see ourselves surrounded by lovely moments. The fourth book is this book. It's a daily planner. You basically get to time your day and add today's focus, your top three goals, your to-do list, what you're grateful for, a meal tracker. I'm just so grateful for the little things. I'm grateful that I have this book because this book helped me to make progress when I didn't feel like I was making progress. On August 27th, I woke up, I prayed, I took a shower, I did laundry, I booked a hair appointment for September 6th, picked up my laundry, folded my laundry, and then the rest of the day was just I went to church for midweek service. And for the day's focus, staying grateful using the Everyday Gratitude book. And at the end of the day, I had said, I'm grateful for life, the air I breathe, and basic necessities. And things to improve on, I had written getting lost in thoughts, sitting still for too long, and remembering bad memories. Amazing things that happened, I noted. Preaching in church was funny, and then secondly, everyone in church can see me struggling and they are all trying to help. God is good. This was August 27th. I'm glad I documented this. And I ate smoothie, rice, stew, carrots, jollof rice, boiled egg, and chicken for dinner, snack, granola, and fruits. And I noted that I'll take 2 bottles of water, and I did. And then I rated the day 3/5. The next book I would like to share that has been carrying me through this period of grief is this one. My brother sent it to me. He sent it to me recently, actually. He sent it to me like a few days ago. I started using it immediately. In the morning, you get to note down your day's focus and what you're grateful for. And then in the evening, you get to note down good things that happened and a positive thought to carry you to sleep and how focusing on gratitude makes you feel. The first day when I got the book in the evening, positive thoughts to carry me to sleep, just do it. Stop studying, start building it. And this was for like personal projects I plan to work on. Next book I would like to share this one. I started to pray for very long hours. And then I got into this season. I just was unable to pray for very long hours. And I struggled and struggled. Someone from a church I used to attend gave this book to me while I was still there. Because she said she noticed that I am someone who learns about prayer, the Bible, faith from books a lot. And she always sees me posting some of my pages. Shout out to her. Julie. This book is prayer in written form, and it's gotten me through the darkest nights, the longest nights. It's made me to understand. It's made me to understand what prayer means. Like that part of the Bible that says, ask and you shall receive, knock and the door will be open, seek and you shall find. When we knock and the door will be open, and then seek you shall find. You shall find the Father inside the room when the door is open. All you need to do is just knock and the door will be open. And when you seek, the person you're seeking for is the Father himself who is in the room. It's a really good book. The final book I would like to share is the Bible. The Bible really is a powerful book. I don't know how to articulate what I want to share right now, but I had attempted to write a Substack post. It's titled How the Book of Genesis Rescued Me from Going Mad. I didn't know what to pray or where to begin, but I knew I needed to pray. And suddenly, a thought came to mind to begin anywhere. So I picked up my Bible and I read from the very first page. While others prayed in tongues or in the language they knew how to, I stumbled my way through the book of Genesis. As I read each sentence, my soul sought healing and restoration from God. On the days when I couldn't do anything, my friend told me that the body sleeps, but the spirit doesn't. And I should just play music and sleep because my spirits would just begin to take in the gospel music as I'm asleep. And I did that on days when I can't read or anything. I'm so grateful for scriptures. I have scriptures on my wall in my apartment and on my coasters. Also have scriptures on them. And so when I'm eating or taking tea or whatever, whether a drink and I use the coasters, sometimes that's all I just fixate my mind on through the rest of the day. The scriptures. The other day it was be still and know that I am God. Other times when I'm struggling as well, I use prayer cards. And they're just scriptures. Like this one says, You're so loved. And the back says, You will fill me with joy in your presence. Psalm 16:11. I hope we all remember that we are so loved. You are so loved.